Morning. It's Craig Bennett, aka Cash Cake, here with DFSArmy for another NBA First Look podcast for Thursday, February 4th, 2021. We got a nice 5-game slate tonight. Not too big, not too small, but for Thursday, it's pretty good. Again, I'll go through all the injury news. I'll be using DraftKings as the backdrop. I'll build another sample DraftKings lineup as we talk through things, but also talk about FanDuel pricing, all the injuries, the pivots if those guys are injured. And again, if you'd like to see a different format, or if you like this video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you know when I upload these videos. But with that, let's dive right into it and see what we have on tap for today. All right, again, 5-game slate. We're going to start at Utah at Atlanta, 224 over under. Utah favored by 7.5. Looks like the big injury news here is DeAndre Hunter is questionable. He was out last game. They're on a back-to-back right now, being Atlanta, back-to-back 3 and 4. Utah, this is a good matchup for Utah. They play pretty tight rotations, getting a team that doesn't play a lot of defense. We can look to attack this team a little bit here. But on the Utah side, Donovan Mitchell, 7,800 on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, he's 7,800 as well. Again, he does all the shootings. Fantastic matchup against Atlanta. I have no problem playing Donovan Mitchell in any and every format that's out there. The team is fully healthy, though. So, there's other guys that can step up and take over. Clarkson could come in and get hot, and ride that hot hand. Joe Ingles can take a few more shots. Conley could do the same thing, but it's Donovan Mitchell's team regardless. So at 7,800, I have no problem playing him. I think I'm going to slide him here at the shooting guard in this lineup just to get, as we get going. Rudy Gobert, again, too cheap, 7,500 on DraftKings, 8,500 on FanDuel. But again, great matchup for him. No problem playing Rudy. I still like playing Rudy more when it's just Conley him in that pick and roll. I don't like it as much when Mitchell's there because Mitchell just likes to shoot a little bit more. So, but again, really cheap tag over here on DraftKings. Mike Conley, 6,600 on DraftKings. He is 7K on FanDuel. Again, I think he's playable as well. I don't think I would play both Conley and Mitchell together at price. Bogdanovich, no thank you. Not with Ingles and Clarkson around there. I don't really have any love for Bogdanovich. 5,800 on FanDuel, 5,700 on DraftKings. He's only been a 0.73 fantasy points per minute for the year, which is basically just a little bit above Royce O'Neal, if that tells you anything. So don't have a lot of interest there. Now, like Royce O'Neal at 5,200 on FanDuel, I always like playing a little bit of Royce on FanDuel because he's active. He gets all the peripherals, few blocks, few steals, few rebounds. He doesn't score the ball, but he does a lot of the dirty work for this team. And again, Jordan Clarkson is interesting on FanDuel. Probably on FanDuel, I would say Clarkson and Ingles are my favorite at price. Clarkson's 5K on FanDuel. Ingles is 4,500. So love that price for Jordan Clarkson. Coming off the bench, down where he should be around 5K, seeing mid to high 20s minutes, 1.08 fantasy points per minute. We know he can get it going. 27% usage rate. You have to love that. 5,600 for Clarkson on DraftKings, 4,800 for Ingles. I think it's Mitchell for me, and then I'm looking at Clarkson, and then Ingles if we had to go down in this range, but that's about it. But again, you can play any one of these guys. It's a great matchup against Atlanta. On the Atlanta side, Trae Young is 9,300 on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, he's 10.5. Not a great matchup here against Utah. Don't think I really want to pay that much for Trae Young. Clint Capella, 8,800 on FanDuel, 8,700 on DraftKings. He hasn't been getting those massive minutes like I talked about in yesterday's podcast. If you look, he's pretty much capped the last 4 games exactly at 30 minutes here. 39, 42, 42, 26. He's not going to get there for you like when he was playing those massive 39, 39, 37 minutes. At his price, I want more than 30 minutes out of Clint Capella. Sure, he's going to put up a double-double, and he's probably going to do something decent, but he's not going to pay off his salary if he's not playing more minutes, So that's my concern with him. John Collins is 6,900 on FanDuel, 7,300 on DraftKings. Had a big game last night against Dallas. And if you notice with John Collins, his minutes have done the complete opposite of Capella's. His minutes are 40, 35, did 30 and 39, putting up 53 against Dallas last night. Again, not a great matchup, but at price on both DraftKings and FanDuel, I think he should be in your player pool. Again, I've always talked about I don't like John Collins when he's up against Capella, but you got to look at, how the rotations are, the minutes are, and then price point. He's just 2K cheaper on FanDuel, and he's about a K cheaper on DraftKings. So 1,400 cheaper. So I'll take my chances there. And then the other guy I'm gonna look at here is if we don't have DeAndre Hunter play, is Kevin Huerter, 4,500 on FanDuel, 5,500 on DraftKings. Put up 48 against Dallas. I'm not expecting that again, but I am expecting these minutes, 38, 39, 30, 39 minutes for a guy that's 5,500. And again, real cheap at 4,500 over on FanDuel. So fantastic play on FanDuel if Huerter is out. So let's look at those guys. Again, not a great matchup against Utah, but I think there's a few pieces we can look at, and I'd rather have the cheaper pieces in Huerter and Collins. And then if you're taking if Huerter is out as well, you can also take a stab at Reddish, 4,600 on FanDuel, 4,700 on DraftKings. But Herter's been the one that's been doing the scoring lately. But those are the guys I'm looking at. Let's head on over to Golden State at Dallas. We have a 224.5 over under, Dallas by 3.5. Again, Dallas coming off that back-to-back game against Atlanta last night. Injury consideration here we have is, from the Dallas side, we got Porzingis doubtful. Again, back-to-back. We probably won't see him play. So we'll probably see Willie Cauley-Stein slide in that starting lineup. He'll be interesting. And then James Wiseman is still out. So we'll have to see what they do. I was real shocked. I'm sure a lot of you were. Steve Kerr, being Steve Kerr, didn't run Pascal out there when he didn't have Wiseman or Looney, who got hurt. And Looney's out for a while either. So they don't really have a true center. They ran Toscano Anderson out there a bunch. So we'll have to kind of see what's going on there and what they plan on running. And maybe that's what they're going to do. Toscano Anderson's going to run the 4, and Green's going to run the 5, which they have no problem putting Green at the 5. So Curry, 9,800 on DraftKings, 99 on FanDuel against Dallas. I have no problem at all playing these guys against Dallas. So Curry's definitely in play here in all formats. Wiggins, 6,800 on FanDuel, 6,500 on DraftKings. Same kind of deal. No problem playing him. Kelly Oubre, 5,400 on DraftKings, 5,300 on FanDuel. He is so up and down. You can never play this guy in cash games. The minutes really haven't been massive here. He struggled quite a bit. 16, 29, 12, and 40. So, hey, maybe he's got a 30 or 40 burger in him today against Dallas. It's a great matchup. Like, Dallas is not a good defensive team at all. So, great tournament play here, I think. But you can't play him in your cash games. Like I said, Draymond Green, I think the minutes are going to be up here. They're just going to have to play him. They don't have no bigs. So, he's going to be slid into this lineup, and we'll put him at power forward. Again, when I watched that last game, I think the whole industry was, probably very, similar. Like, why aren't they playing Eric Pascal? He's the only center that they really big that could go out there, and they just went small. Now, could they force to play him, with Willie Cauley-Stein and some of the big guys that they have in Dallas? Sure. I mean, Steve Kerr could go back to him. And so I think I would still have Eric Pascal in my lineups, but it would make me a little leery that they'll just keep running Draymond Green at the 5 and Toscano Anderson at the 4 and just bring Pascal off the bench. And Pascal's 4,500 on FanDuel, 4,500 on DraftKings, so he's not even cheap now like he was before. He was 3,500. So I don't know what they're going to do with him. I think Toscano Anderson's probably the guy you play now. He's actually 3,500 on DraftKings, 4,900 on FanDuel. And as you can see, he saw 27 minutes, put up 25 fantasy points here. I'm going to slide him into this lineup as well at price, and just by looking at it's a 1-game sample size. So let's be real. We can all have a lot of speculation on what Steve Kerr is going to do and figure out how he's going to run things. But just watching that game and seeing that's how they ran things, like I said, they don't really have a lot of choice. Like they don't have any bigs off the bench. It's Draymond Green, it's Eric Pascal, and it's Toscano Anderson. I mean, if you want to call him a big on the 4, he's more of a small forward. So I would assume Pascal's going to get some minutes, but maybe it's 20 to 22 minutes. It's a really weird situation. But again, Dallas is not a good defensive team. So I think you can play these guys. So yeah, I have no problem playing a couple Golden State guys here. It's like I said, Curry, Wiggins, Oubre tournament, Pascal tournaments only, just because we don't know. Like I said, then Draymond Green and Toscano Anderson are both too cheap for the minutes they're going to have to play, because both are, Draymond Green could see 35 minutes this game, and 5,200 for a guy that can get triple double upside. I definitely want some of him. So I'm gonna just leave these two on the Golden State side. Again, I would look at those guys if you're building lineups. On the Dallas side, again, Porzingis is doubtful on a back-to-back. I don't think he plays, so we're probably gonna see a little Willie Cauley-Stein start again against Golden State. The only worry here would be as if Golden State goes small and they start trying to run him off the court, and then maybe Dallas has to counter that, and Rick Carlisle's like, well, I got to go small as well. And maybe that's when he runs a lot of, Kleba at the 5, or he runs, something like that. Like runs more Powell just because he's a little bit more athletic and it could happen more. So, Powell's interesting at that point. So the big thing is Luka is 10-9, 11-3 on FanDuel. I think, anytime you're going to get Luka without Porzingis, or just anytime, I'm going to play some Luka here. My concern is the back-to-backs with Luka, usually because he hasn't had a big game on a back-to-back. Put up 64 fantasy points last night in 38 minutes. But I've went through his game logs, a couple days ago, and I think he's had 3 or 4 back-to-backs, and he hasn't really performed extremely well. I do think he's going to be popular because there's no Porzingis, but in tournaments, just keep that in mind. On a back-to-back, he's struggled a little bit, and this back-to-back 3 and 4. It's a close spread though, and it is Golden State, and they don't have any bigs. So, I think in cash lineups, he's perfectly fine. I'm just saying that keep that in mind when you're making your decisions today, if you want to play, Luka or not. Like, again, I'm not saying don't play him. I think he's a great play, but, just back-to-backs always worry me, with just looking at how he's performed over the year, with them. So, just keep that in mind. Josh Richardson, again, is too cheap. 4,900 on DraftKings, 4,900 on FanDuel. He's going to play mega minutes. 32 and 40 over his last 2. I think his confidence level is getting back up there. I'm going to slide him in this lineup as a small forward. That's one thing I love about Josh Richardson. Slide him in that role. Brunson at 4K. I don't know if I love it, but if they go small, maybe we see more minutes out of Brunson. 4K on FanDuel as well. So he's an interesting play if they just decide to go that small ball. Finney Smith at 3,900 on DraftKings, 3,900 on FanDuel. Another play I think that you can look at playing cheap. And like I told you before, maybe they play more Powell at center instead of Willie Cauley-Stein here, and they go small. That's something. But again, I'm going to just, as building through this, I'm going to consider that, Porzingis is going to be out, and they're going to start Willie Cauley-Stein again. And the last game that Willie Cauley-Stein started when Porzingis played 30 minutes, put up 35 DraftKings points against Phoenix. But now they needed him against Ayton. So that's just one concern. But again, when you're getting a guy 4,100 at the start that should play, 25 minutes, you got to have some interest there. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. is always going to be in play without Porzingis. 5,500 on FanDuel, 5,700 on DraftKings, 29, 30, 33. So he played 36 minutes that last time Porzingis was out there. I don't mind some Tim Hardaway. I think this game you're going to want to play quite a few pieces in it with, you can kind of pinpoint where the production's going to come from. So, like this game, I've got a few of them in this lineup, 2 of them on each side of it, because there's just some value, especially on DraftKings. Portland at Philly. We have a 227 over under. Philly by 9.5. Philly coming in on a back-to-back here. They played last night. Derrick Jones Jr. is questionable. Damian Lillard is questionable as well. Nassar Little is out. And Shake Milton is in for Philly. This is extremely worrisome. We're almost at a double-digit over-under, and Damian Lillard is questionable. Now, I'm assuming he's going to play, but if he sat, oh my, the shots that are going to go around. I know Simmons did you dirty last game and played 14 minutes against Washington, put up 7 fantasy points. But this cat's going to play all the damn minutes he can get if we had Damian Lillard sit here. It's a rough matchup against Philly. Let's just be real here. It's not like this is a fantastic matchup, but if Lillard sits, you gotta consider, playing some of these guys. I think Lillard's going to play. So let's consider in this conversation that Lillard is going to play. If it changes, again, we'll have all that stuff over at DFSArmy. If you want to head on over there and sign up using promo code CashKeg, we break it all down for you with the news and the spreadsheets will all be updated. But in the consideration here, I think Lillard's going to play. Trent Jr., 6,200 on FanDuel, or 6,200 on DraftKings, 6,300 on FanDuel, playing mega minutes. Cantor, 7K on FanDuel, 7K over here on DraftKings. Embiid will be able to do whatever he wants to. Again, he played last night, but I have no problem playing a little bit of Cantor at that price. There is upside. They're going to need a big body. They don't really have any other big center to match up against Embiid, so he's going to have to be out there on the court because, Embiid will just kill Harry Giles. So, I don't mind some Cantor here. Lillard, again, if he plays, he's going to do everything in the possible to keep this game close. 1.27 fantasy points per minute, 31% usage rate. If he plays, he's going to play 38 minutes, man. It's just what he does. And if they have any shot at all to keep this thing close, it's on the back of Lillard. So, really need this news, if he's out, you're looking at Simmons, you're looking at Trent Jr. more, you're looking at Melo, Rodney Hood got the start last time. You could look at him as well. So we really need the Dame news, but I'm considering he's going to start, and I'm just going to look at Damon and Cantor here. On the Philly side, again, this, they played last night. Embiid will be able to do whatever he wants against Cantor if you wanted to play Embiid. But it's, again, if Lillard is out, I wouldn't want any of these Philly guys because I don't think it stays close enough for the game to be competitive. Without Lillard, that team struggles really hard. They get on that struggle bus and ride hard. But Embiid will be able to do whatever he wants. If it stays close, he could put up a 60 burger in a hurry here. So you have to consider him. 10-2 on DraftKings, 10-2 on FanDuel. It's just, for me, back-to-back, I don't know, if Lillard's going to play. He could, sit on a back-to-back as well, which would be interesting because then we could put Howard at 4,100 out there. We could throw, Bradley that struggled when he had the start. Howard's actually did better off the bench. So maybe we want the guy that's going to come off the bench. But I could see Embiid just playing here and just dominating Cantor. Simmons at 8,700 on FanDuel, 8,300 on DraftKings. Tobias Harris, 7,200 on DraftKings, 7,900 on FanDuel. Don't really like all these prices. Again, I think it's just Embiid for me here, and that's about it if this whole team does play. And then on DraftKings, Seth Curry, 4,600 is a little interesting in tournaments. He can always get it going. He's 3,800 on FanDuel. A guy's going to play 30 minutes. He should definitely be in your player pool for sure. I don't like those prices for Harris or Simmons on FanDuel very much. It's just Embiid there. And on DraftKings, it's basically Seth Curry. And that's about it for me. And Embiid, if he plays. But, we got Luka and Dame. I don't think he's going to be as highly owned here. Let's head over to Houston at Memphis. This should be a fun one. 223.5 over under. Memphis favored by 1.5. Looks like Nwaba is out for Houston. John Wall's probable. He sat out last game. They're on a back-to-back. They played last night. So John Wall is going to play here. Looks like Oladipo is doubtful, so they set him. They're going to play Wall. Who else we got here? On the Memphis side, looks like Joe Val is still out. Grayson Allen's still out. So, with John Wall being probable, I think you're just going to slide him right into this lineup. No, you're not going to have any Oladipo stealing all those shots. John Wall should play over 30 minutes here. Maybe he'll sneak into 33 minute range. It's a great matchup against Memphis. It's hard not to like John Wall here at all, especially that Depot is doubtful. So have a lot of love there. Christian Wood, 8,800 on DraftKings, 8,900 on FanDuel. Have a lot of love for him as well. I think we can just go right back and play some Christian Wood as well. It's going to be him and Wood going to have all the usage in the world. And then Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon's going to shoot a ton. 5,400 on FanDuel, 5,800 on DraftKings. I think he's a fair play here as well. I'm actually going to take Mitchell out, and I'm going to throw Gordon in this lineup here. They struggled last night and actually got beat by OKC. So I think they're going to come out with a little chip on their shoulder, and I think Wall and company is going to kind of take it to Memphis here. Again, he put up 35 fantasy points in 28 minutes. He basically was the offense, but they couldn't get it going. So we're going to throw Gordon in this lineup here. And again, man, that's about it for me. I don't really want Cousins. I don't really want Tate. I'm just going to focus on the big three here. If you want to call Gordon part of the big three with Depot out, they're the guys that are going to score. They're the guys that are going to put up the points. I don't think you need to go anywhere else. If you were going to look anywhere else, it would be Jayshawn Tate. But again, that's just a tournament play only. Over on the Memphis side here, we have John Morant, 7,600. Boy, it's cheap. He is 7,400 on FanDuel. Again, I love this matchup. No problem playing a little John Morant here. That's a hell of a tag on him. So I love going both these guys, Wall and Morant. That's a fun combo to play against each other. Morant, since he's come back, he's had a couple blowouts on both sides of it. You know, getting blown out and blowing San Antonio out 2 games. So we really haven't seen the John Morant that's going to put up a massive score. So I think people are going to look at those game logs. They're going to be like, hey, I haven't seen the 40 burger out of him. What's going on? Well, he just hasn't been on the court for 4 quarters. So we haven't seen, over 30 minutes out of him since he's come back. But I think he can get there against Houston. So a tournament option for me here. Again, with no Joval, Clark, 6K on DraftKings, 6,400 on FanDuel. Very much in play here. Xavier Tillman, again, should draw the start. He is 5,400 on FanDuel, 5,200 on DraftKings. Another great play as well. I have no problem going down to Tillman here as well. I love that he's power forward eligible. You can always look at the gorgeous dunk, man. 4,400 on DraftKings. If you want to get different off of Willie Cauley-Stein in tournaments, maybe look at little gorgy dang here, man. I mean, he's got upside. 2 games, put up 34 and 33. You love that at 4,400. Again, very volatile, but he's going to be the big off the bench, and he's shown that he can get it done. So tournaments only. Dylan Brooks is another guy that got hot last game. 5,900 on DraftKings, put up 38 fantasy points, shot 10 for 18, even though they lost. He is priced at 5,200 on FanDuel, so a fantastic price on FanDuel. I love that. So I think you're looking at Brooks, excuse me, Clark, Tillman, and Morant here. I can't play slow-mo, man. 6K on FanDuel. It's 5,500 on DraftKings, and I'm talking about Kyle Anderson. His nickname is Slow-Mo, and if you watch any basketball and watch him play, you will understand. I can't go there personally. Memphis and Houston, this should be a up and down game. I want guys that actually run up and down the court. So fun game. I would get a couple pieces of this. Like I said, Eric Gordon, Wall, Morant, Clark, Tillman, probably some of the guys that are my favorite, with Wood, of course, if you can get up to him as well. So lots of ways you can go here. I think that Golden State Dallas game and this Houston Memphis game look like the 2 games to target when it comes to value so far, and getting pieces of that. So look at those two teams. Let's head on over to Denver at the Lakers. This game starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a little island game here. Lakers are 5-point favorites, 219.5 over under. Very low over under here for this matchup. Monte Morris is probable here. It looks like LeBron James and AD are probable. What? Those guys have been questionable all year, and now they want to be probable. What a time to be alive. So, yeah. What we got? PJ Dozier's still out. Gary Harris is out. So, I guess we'll probably see Monte Morris slide in that starting lineup for Gary Harris, is what I would assume. Jokic 11K. Oh, man. See, this is going to be a fun game to watch. I don't know about for fantasy purposes. 11K for Jokic on FanDuel. I can't go here in cash games. Jokic can always put up a number, man, because he does everything for the team like LeBron does. But that's a big number, big ask for him. I think I'm going to fade that. Again, this is not a great fantasy game. This is more of a great basketball game. So Jokic 11K, kind of fade that. But tournaments, man, he's always going to be in play. Just I'm looking at point per dollar, and when I can get a little cheaper for guys like Lillard and Luka, I'm probably going to be looking there. Jamal Murray, 7,800 on FanDuel, 6,800 on DraftKings. Really cheap here on DraftKings. Again, not a great matchup. Tournaments only here. Michael Porter Jr., 6,100 on DraftKings, 5,500 on FanDuel. Now, I can get behind that play on FanDuel because 1.18 fantasy points per minute. If he sees 28 minutes, he can cover that tag even in a bad matchup, especially off the bench. I do like him. So I will say on FanDuel, that's a good price. Monte Morris, again, 3,900 on FanDuel. Over here on DraftKings, he's 4,200. He's going to play a lot of minutes. So that's another play that I like. And because it's a price point play, I'm having a harder time getting to Jokic and Murray on FanDuel. But Porter, Barton at 5,200. I guess you can look there, but I really worry about this matchup. So I think it's Monte Morris and Michael Porter Jr. for me. And that's about it. Like, I'm not super excited to play a lot of these guys in this matchup. So I'm going to leave it at that. On the Lakers side, again, both these guys are probable finally. So, AD and LeBron, 10-7 and 10-3 on FanDuel, 10K for LeBron James on DraftKings, Anthony Davis, 9,700. So, again, I think it's somebody that we can look at, but on a slate like this, when both of them are playing and more just a good basketball game, DFS, I don't think you need to go there. Nobody that I'm looking to shove in my lineups here. Schroeder at 5,500. Again, tournaments only, 5,300 on FanDuel. You should play minutes. Denver's not a good defensive team, so if we're looking for value there, but like I've always said, it's hard to play these guys. It's this 5-game slate, so they're tournament options. But like on my main team, I don't think I'm going anyone here. Harrell, 5,600 on FanDuel, 5,300 on DraftKings. Again, just a tournament option here. I don't see any of these guys being guys I'm trying to shove in my lineup. So, KCP, he's always plays a ton of minutes. He's min price on FanDuel at 3,500 if you need that price savings. On DraftKings, he's 3,500 again if you need that savings. But I'm focused more on the Houston-Memphis game and the Golden State-Dallas game when it comes to my value because I think those guys will just see more shots, and I believe they're going to put up more fantasy points. So, again, Denver at the Lakers, better basketball game than a fantasy output game. Should be one you can just kind of enjoy. Maybe you'll have some prop bets on it. We'll see what's going on here. Again, there it is. There's the quick rundown on a 5-game slate for Thursday, February 4th, 2021. Again, if you like these videos, hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. And let me know in the comments if there's anything else you want to see, anything else you want me to break these things down. I appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to listen to this breakdown with me. And I hope you have a profitable Thursday. And I'll have some prop bets a little bit later. I'll see you on the flip side. Deuces.